G'day everyone. Welcome back to the Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast for all things Newcastle United. I'm joined tonight by Craig. We're going to briefly touch on the boringest game you've ever seen in your whole life at Elland Road. Craig, how are you?
I'm all right till I got up at 2:30 this morning to watch that shower of shite. It's
It was
90 minutes of my life I'm not getting back, that's for sure.
Yes, it was absolute rotten to watch. So we'll have a quick chat about that, and then given there's probably we're less than 48 hours now, Craig, are we, before the end of the transfer window? I think Tuesday, 4 a.m. it is for us in Australia. So there's still a lot to do, a lot of people to come in, and hopefully we'll see if anyone ends up going out. But we'll get stuck into that a bit later on. Like you said, Craig, we had a 2:30 a.m. kickoff last night for us here on the eastern seaboard of Australia. Let's not sugarcoat it. It was one of the worst games we've seen for a long time. I had low expectations going in, having seen the weather and then the team news. I immediately thought we're going to play a 3-5-2, which, if you do remember, I did float that in the group chat during the week that that is an option to do. We've played well once in that formation. Why would we do that against a newly promoted team?
Doesn't make much sense, does it? I mean, the defense has been solid. Yes, we shipped 3 goals against Liverpool, but apart from that, it's been pretty decent. Burn and Shaw have been the rock at the back for a good number of months now. And I don't know, it was just a bit of a strange call. Maybe he was expecting a lot more press from Leeds or something, and they want to give a bit of protection for the wing-backs. Not a clue. It was a strange decision, and I'm sure already he's got his reasons. And no doubt, hopefully we'll find out sometime soon what those reasons were.
Yeah, so there are 2 changes to the lineup. Joelinton's out with his groin injury, and Alanga dropped to the bench, and Murphy came in, and Botman came in to form that 3 at the back. So, it was, like I said, it wasn't great. It was pretty boring. We didn't really create much. We ended up in our sort of traditional 4-3-3, if you want to call it that. But by then, I think Leeds were kind of happy to hold us at bay and get a draw and things like that. This is a really hard one for me. Are you happy with the first 3 games, or are you a bit annoyed with the first 3 games?
The Villa game before kickoff, I would have taken a draw, not a problem at all. But I do think we deserve to get something from that game. Liverpool game, we definitely deserve to get something from that one. Not just a kick in the nuts, which, to be honest, we normally get against Liverpool in the dying minutes. That's just a common theme now. And I think the balance of this game after the 90 minutes, 0-0 ball draw, was probably the fair result. No team deserved to win it. No team deserved to score, to be honest. Was just one of those ones where everybody was still in the changing rooms and just couldn't be asked to put the miles in on a wet, soggy, heavy pitch. And it just sucked the life out of the game, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it felt like both teams were too scared to go at each other in case they left each other open at the back. That's the vibe I got. It was a bit of a chess game, and sometimes I think, especially against like newly promoted teams as well, and I think they come up during the. Oh no, they didn't come up. They finished second. Is that right? Burnley won. Yeah. You should just have a go at these teams. Like, we've got far too much quality, and even though I think Osula isn't the answer to any question when it comes to attacking options for us, I still think, given our current situation, we could have played that 4-3-3 with a straight swap for Ramsey for Joelinton as well, and having Alanga and Barnes, or if you want to throw Murphy and have one of them cut in. Like, I think that would have posed a much greater threat to them and their goal. And I don't know why. We'll never know why we played like that. But by the time, like I said, it was back to the 4-3-3, the game had already gone, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was too little too late, wasn't it? It was
it
just
was.
literally a case of there was too many heavy legs on there. That midfield of Tonali and Bruno were getting crowded out with everything they've done. Bruno was getting kicked left, right, and centre, which you expect from a team with a championship midfield. They probably know they don't have the skill or the ability to go toe to toe, so they ganged up on them, which is fair enough. It worked for them. And Sean Longstaff obviously made his return. Oh, he faced his former club, obviously, and if anything, he was probably the best player on the pitch.
I thought he was.
Yeah, and he showed everybody what Sean Longstaff can do when he plays well. And he's the type of player that we do miss, in my opinion. We've yet to replace him. Yes, we got him Ramsey, but he's a different type of player altogether. But Longstaff, he put in a good shift. And I've always got good things to say about that lad. But I wish he just, sat back for an extra 5 minutes, let Bruno get an extra yard of pace so he could rifle one into the top corner. But that's not in his nature. He loves to play football, and good luck with him in his Leeds future.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think, I've always wondered this, especially when a player leaves a club and they play that club within maybe 6-8 weeks of him leaving.
Mm.
Do you think with him knowing every little detail about how we play with our patterns and all that sort of stuff, do you reckon he plays a big role for Leeds in the lead up during the week to plan against us and kind of stop everything that we want to do?
Probably, and also the fact that he had a big chunk of pre-season under ready as well. So he would
Exactly,
have
yeah. So
known what was in the pipeline.
Obviously he knows how we've played,
Yeah.
the last 2.5, 3 years since he's been here. But these little, tweaks and nuances that every club and manager has going into a new season, he's all across them as well. He's been training them and everything like that. So, yeah. Do you think that he played a part in the way we played?
It would make sense for him to do so. It would be foolish of him not to give some any inside information to his manager or his teammates or anything like that, because at the end of the day, he'll want to win just as much as we did, albeit if it means beating his boyhood club. He's there to play for Leeds now. He's there to get them the win and get them to push up the table.
Yeah. Look, I think he would have done some, no doubt about that. But I don't think he would have gone all in. I still think there's still a big soft spot there for his boyhood club, and I don't think
Oh God,
he'd try and I think he'd love nothing more than to see us do well.
yeah,
And
easy.
I think in the bottom of his heart, that's what he really, really wants. And he's a game, he knows he needs to play. He's a professional; it's his job, and he's got to do what he's got to do. So I think he might have relegation clauses in his contract and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's in his best interest to win as many games and stay in the division. But I do think he would have helped him to some degree, but not, not giving all warts and all to try and make us lose and stuff like that. He's probably really happy that no one scored, no one won. He can get it out of the way, everything like that. He got a nice ovation post game as well from the travelling fans, which was good to see. I think he got a little bit emotional from the stuff that I've seen from that, which sort of says to where his heart really is. Now, speaking of people who were getting ovations from the crowd, Craig, a certain we'll call him number 14 from now on.
Yes, let's.
What did you make of that during the game? It's been a far cry from what's happened in the first two games, where a lot of the stuff has happened post game and sort of once the players had sort of finished their work and thanked the fans and stuff like that. That's when the knife started sharpening. But there was a noticeable difference in this game, wasn't there, mate?
There was, and the commentators even mentioned it as well, which when the language is that colourful,
Yes.
normally they try to avoid mentioning it or anything like that. But in my opinion, it's fully justifiable.
Yeah.
We as fans are entitled to our opinion in what we think of players in and around the club, how they're playing, how they're performing, and whether they're down tools and being an absolute CU in the NT. If anybody knows,
Yeah.
in Australia, that's a actual
That's a
promotion
Northern
for the
Territory.
Northern Territory. Yeah,
Yes.
CU in the NT. But yeah,
great part of the world too, Craig. If you ever get the chance to to go there?
I've been. I went croc diving.
Oh, really? How good?
Yeah, I went saltwater croc diving in a tank in Darwin for
Oh, man.
one of my birthdays, so that's off my bucket list. But anyway, getting back to the topic, yeah, I do genuinely think it was fully justified, and if anything, have been chanting it pretty much all day myself. And we had a little joke with the potential thumbnail going on for this video. If I was going to use that in there, clearly I can't for YouTube purposes.
Yes.
But otherwise, yeah, I think it's fully justifiable. Fans are well entitled to their opinion. We as fans put a lot of money into this club, and it's hard-earned money. And he's just sat at home pissing it away, whether he watched the game or not and heard the crowd. Who knows? Maybe did, maybe didn't. But either way, it would have got back to him. But however many thousands of fans there were chanting that direct to him, and it was as clear as day. I'm very surprised Sky, or whoever done the broadcast, didn't adjust the volume like they've been known to do in previous matches when content like that can be heard.
Especially when it's the feature game as well. Like, it was a very strange decision, and whether obviously the production team didn't pick it up soon enough to put an overlay in or whatever, or turn their mics off, however it was. Always think too, like the match day fans are a pretty good sort of guide as to how the fan base is feeling. I think social media is probably not a great guide, you might say, but I think the match going fans are a real good sort of barometer with like, the temperature and stuff like that. And like you said, I think it's there was a little bit at the end of the Villa game, a little bit at the end of the Liverpool game as well, even though the feeling wasn't great after that. But now in game, it's the first time any chance have been directed at number 14 in game this season. So that to me says I think everyone's pretty much had enough, and they'll be happy to see him go. Now, while we're on that, mate, we may as well before we go on. We need your 3, 2, and 1, mate, for the annual Craig Moore medal that we have going on at the moment. We'll have a leaderboard coming up soon. 3 games, probably not enough for a leaderboard yet, but we'll have one not too far away.
Man of the match, number 1 spot, go with Dan Burn.
Yep.
I think it was Colossus. Then bit of a tricky one for 2 and 3. I'm going to say Tonali, even though he was nowhere near his best. And maybe, and actually, no, I'll have Tino number 2 and Tonali 3. I'll have Tino, Dan Burn 1, Tino 2, Tonali 3.
Yeah, I thought Livramento was great. I
he
thought he was really, really good. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. Like Lewis Hall start making these little cameos and stuff like that at the moment, still getting his fitness up and stuff like that. I thought Livramento's probably been him and Byrne have probably been our best 2 players over the course of the first 3 games. So, and he's been playing at left back. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens maybe after the international break. Once you think Hall would be nearly up to speed by then, he'll have a good block of training underneath him. So be interesting to see how we line up. Is it Wolves or Wolves next and then the international? It's Wolves and then the break, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Woltemade making his debut next week, so it must be.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of the big German himself, mate. He's done a pod. When was it? Friday night, I think it was. Thursday night, Friday night. Once it was kind of breaking on social media that it all been agreed he was flying in to do his medical and stuff like that. Since it was announced last night, I reckon 7:00-ish last night our time, mate. I think I'd gone home from footy and was catching up on the day and everything was going on. Now I know these, I guess, I don't know what you want to call them, signing videos and stuff like that. They're a bit, I think a couple of them have been, you're not sure. Especially, the ones with like a fan describing the club and and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
a bit
And
weird.
they've been a bit not sure. The bloke that did you see the bloke that did this one? I think his
Aye,
name's Bill. I think he works for the food bank. The stuff
he
that I've
does, Bill
seen on
Cochran.
yeah, I didn't want to say his last name in case I stuffed it up, but okay, Cochrane it is. Yeah, he said a line in there, mate, that it could be one of the most truest things I've ever heard about the club. You coming from the area could probably resonate with it a little bit more. He said, "What you'll discover in Newcastle, it isn't just a city that you live in; it's a city that lives in you."
Yeah.
Is that how much does that hit home for you?
It genuinely does. And just as an example for something like that, just the other day on my own personal Facebook account, I shared the clip from Off Wheelers in Pet, where he's sending his kid off and he puts him on the bus and he goes, just remember your roots, son. You'll always be a Geordie, no matter where you go. And to me, that just sticks in me every single day. Never ever not say I'm a Geordie, and it's always a case of where you're from. Newcastle, it's never England or anything like that. Geordie first, English second. I know it sounds a bit daft or anything, but I'd imagine a lot of us Newcastle fans from the area would say exactly the same thing. But I get Bill's sentiment in every single which way, shape, or form. It is again what that clip says. This is the city that built you. It's a city that shapes you. It makes you the person who you are. And I absolutely fully believe that 100%.
Yeah, it just and like I'm clearly not from the area, but I do have family in the area and things like that. So yeah, it just really I thought that one line really kind of encapsulated everything about the city because every game there's 11 heroes that enter the pitch and that's the way they're treated, not during the game, but for like the whole time they're at the club. And do you know what? Even though when they leave and come back, they're treated. Oh, well, most of them are treated as heroes. So yeah, Big Nick. We could maybe some Big Nick energy at the moment. They're starting to get a few scouting reports from people who have watched him play and people who know a lot more than what we do about this sort of stuff. I've heard a lot of comparisons, a bit of Ibrahimovic as well. He's like Messi with
Yeah.
the ball at his feet. The first thing that took me was his size. He is a
Ouch.
monster. He's looking dead. Like we were lucky enough last year when the club came out to us to see Dan Burn live in person, and he is every bit of Big Dan Burn. And Big Nick is every bit of Big Nick as well. When you're shaking hands with Dan Burn and looking him in the eye, you're a big, big man. And some of the clips with the ball at his feet and stuff like that, a man that size shouldn't be doing
Nah.
the things he's doing with the ball. What do you think, or how do you think he kind of fits in to us at the moment?
Um, I think a lot of people probably think, looking at his size, his stature, that he's just going to be a hoof-it up long target man, kind of like what Chris Wood was supposed to be.
Oh, Peter Crouch
Darryl
type.
Murphy, yeah, Crouch type player, yeah. But he's far from it. He's not actually that much of an aerial threat. He doesn't score a lot
Which
of
is
goals with his head.
crazy.
It is bonkers, isn't it? But even that Dan Burn wasn't that great with his head when he first signed, and he openly admitted to
He's
that.
still great. Like he's had his best header will never ever be beaten in
Nah,
club
no
history.
chance. But yeah, he's very good with his feet. His legs are so long, he's got to pass to himself. Is just an absolute behemoth of a person in terms of his size and the way he can carry the ball. From the short clips that I've seen, and yes, I know YouTube highlights make a player look like Messi in his prime, but when you're given the nickname Volta Messi by everybody in Germany, then that's clearly a good sign, There was also talks of him being similar to Berbatov in terms of his first touch. Don't know if you remember Berbatov in his prime, but he was absolutely
Oh,
sensational. Yeah.
mate, he was a star and huge Newcastle fan as well, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Shearer was his
Yes,
hero, if I remember rightly. Yeah, but yeah, he's
yes.
got the first touch of Berbatov, the anticipation of Miroslav Klose, and he's got the skill of Zlatan. Which you mold those three players together, then that could be one hell of a player we've got. the fee that's been agreed, yes, it's a club record fee, but I don't think anyone knows what the actual number is because it keeps changing on a daily basis.
Yes.
You any idea what the total figure is?
No, I wasn't
No.
involved in the negotiations.
I don't know if you've seen any. I know the club will never release what the fee is. That's just a club record, so it's obviously more than
Undisclosed.
63.
Yeah.
But I've not a clue. But to be honest, the price of strikers in this window, to fuck any player, to be honest, has been absolutely bonkers. You've got average
Yeah.
players going for 40 odd million. Then you've got potential world class players like we've just signed there in Woltemade. And then you've got Florian Wirtz, who for the first few games of his Liverpool career does look like he's worth anywhere near 110 million quid or whatever they paid for him. He looks like he's running in quicksand. So there's some massively overinflated prices. Yes, we probably have paid more for him. And Stuttgart got an absolute bargain when they signed him for free. They're literally running all the way to the bank for the money we've just paid for him. But, you know, credit to him, credit to the player. He's obviously turned the screw, he's knuckled down, and he's caught the attention of a lot of players. And for the second player of the season, we've Nick from Bayern Munich, which is a pretty big scalp for a wee club from the northeast, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think I did read some comments from their president. I think that's what his title was. Didn't seem too happy with the fact that he'd signed for us. I think they might have had a bit of a gentleman's agreement that he was going to go there at the end of this season, but you snooze, you lose, unfortunately. So
Absolutely,
that's where it's at now, mate. Like I said, we've got less than 48 hours to go. There is shit going on everywhere at the club at the moment. The latest, we're recording, it's about 7:30 here on a Sunday night. I think in the last hour, Wissa has put his own statement out as well, very, very much like number 14 did a couple of weeks ago. I'll quickly read that out. We can unpack that a little bit, Craig. Says, over the past few weeks, there's been an increased speculation about my future at Brentford Football Club. As a result, I wanted to speak directly and honestly about exactly where things stand. I've stayed silent for much of the summer, but with just hours remaining of the transfer window, I feel compelled to make it clear that I want to leave Brentford. I believe the club are unduly standing in my way, despite a series of fair offers throughout the summer. I've always given 100% for Brentford since the day I signed in 2021. I'm proud of what we built together. I've never taken the opportunity to play for the club for granted. Brentford fans will always have a special place in my heart, and I've always conducted myself professionally both on and off the pitch. It's been a privilege to wear this shirt for 149 games and celebrate 49 goals. Now we get to the juicy stuff. That part wasn't in it. I'll continue on. Earlier this summer, I held open discussions with the club's senior management, including key directors and new head coach. I made it clear my intention to explore a new challenge. During these conversations, it was confirmed to me and my representatives that the club would not stand in my way if a reasonable offer was received. This was also put in writing. Based on this understanding, I sought to find a new club, keeping Brentford informed with full transparency at every step. I received a formal offer from another Premier League club and communicated I wanted to join. I was under the impression from all my conversations with Brentford there was a mutual agreement to part ways. Yet as the window comes to an end, the club has now significantly changed its position, going against what was communicated. This has left me in a difficult and frustrating position. The promise that I could leave this summer has not been fulfilled, and it saddens me to have to write that. And I will maintain total respect for the club and its fans. I want to make it clear that I've not acted unprofessionally, nor do I wish to leave Brentford on bad terms. I've been transparent in my position throughout. I've continued to communicate openly with the club and conduct myself in a way that reflects my values both as a footballer and human being. It does go on, blah, 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 but we won't read the rest of it, mate. What did you think of that?
I think Chat GPT's had another good exercise. It just reeks of number 14 again, doesn't it? It's
It
not the
does.
type of attitude I like to see, especially for a player who we're criticising for doing the same thing, and then we're looking to buy a player. And yes, according to that, there was a gentleman's agreement that he could leave, but not on the fee. And to me, that's a big thing. If they say, yeah, if a fee comes in and we're happy with it, yeah, we'll accept it, you can go. But it's a totally different thing. I know high-profile gentleman's agreement, there's two of recent time. One was Jack Grealish, where the chairman said, look, if a Champions League comes in and they're willing to pay 100 million, you can go. That's the fee. Take it or leave it. City obviously stumped that up and he went there. And the other one was Haaland from Dortmund to Man City. He had a gentleman's agreement, 63 million quid, whatever it was, there or thereabouts. If that fee comes in, and again, it's a Champions League club, conditions are met, you can go. There's not a release clause. This is just our gentleman's agreement. I don't know if it was written in paper or written on a contract or anything, but it wasn't a release clause. It was just a set agreement that the players' representatives had with their club at the time. And to me, that makes a huge, huge difference. There's nothing set in stone with the price, just that he could leave. If you say you're going to put your house on the market and somebody said, right, I'll give you 50 quid for it, and you go, hold on, no, it's worth 250,000 quid. Well, no, you put it on the market, I can dictate my price, that sort of thing. And actually going back to the Woltemade interview, I don't know if you've seen it, where he says, I had nothing to do with the price. That was negotiated with the clubs. I don't understand why this area is kicking off because the club are valued a certain amount when they haven't agreed a set fee for his release. That's the bit that irked me with that one. And I would just wash my hands with him, to be honest. We do not want to replace one dickhead with another dickhead. And Eddie's philosophy is a no dickhead philosophy. And to me, I just think he'd be another bad egg who's another 2 years or so. Saudi Arabia come crawling, and we need him because we've got injuries or suspensions or whatever. And he's saying, you know what, I really want to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm going to do the same type of thing again. Not on. I'd wash my hands with him and tell him where to go. He can stay at Brentford, or if another club wants to come in and stop with the funds, by all means.
Yeah, it's very similar for me. The principle. First of all, I think it's good that he actually acknowledged the fans and stuff. At least in the statement where number 14 didn't mention the fans at all.
Yeah.
In his anyway. Moving on from that, I think if you're going to sit down with the club and go as far as to put whatever you guys have spoken about in writing, and this is only my opinion, wouldn't you put a fee in there in right? Like if you're going to go as far as to say sit down and hey, look, I want to leave, and that look, yeah, okay, look, if a if in a well, hang on, what word did he use? Let me just go back into this here. A reasonable offer, okay? If you're going to sit down and get this stuff in writing, I think you have to have a dollar amount or a pound amount attached to a reasonable offer, and then that way, this shit doesn't happen because you've both agreed that okay, I want to go. Look, we're happy for you to go, and like you said with Grealish, this is the price. All right, so these are the terms. If someone comes in with this offer, we'll agree to let you go here, and we'll put it in writing. Now, the fact that it always seems that the reasonable offer, and I think this is where his frustration is coming from, is going up and up and up and up and up, almost making this an untenable situation where, like, it would be we can't pay. I think the figure they've stopped at the moment is £65 million. There is no way in the world we're not anyone, not us, anyone is paying that for him at that age. Now, I'm not sure who's going to blink first. I'm not sure if the club are that bothered by it, to be honest. But it seems with 2 days left in the window, it's him or Strand Larsen from Wolves. Is that your kind of read on the situation as well?
It is, and I would go for Strand Larsen all day long. I've been batting for him probably for the last 2 months or so. I wanted him at the club for a little while as Wilson's replacement. As much as the media tries to get that Woltemade is Wilson's replacement, he's clearly not. He's Isak's. I
don't say his name.
Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, I would have Strand Larsen over Wissa all day long. Wissa may be the more mobile player, and he may get you a bit more freedom around the pitch. But Larsen is probably going to be a bit cheaper. He's definitely going to be younger. Obviously, he's 4 or 5 years younger, I think, something like that. So there is potential for resale value, and he has continued to play for Wolves. He played in the League Cup game, I think he did, when he came on and scored 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Didn't play last night.
Yeah, I think he got an Achilles injury, I think.
Allegedly an Achilles injury. But Wolves have dug their heels in as well and said he's not for sale. Now, we need to, and is that a public sort of view? And the internal view is, look, the same thing. This is our price. If you want him, we'll sell him for this.
Yeah.
I think that I really don't know, Craig. I don't know if the club are going to blink, and I'm sure our group chat has been a microcosm of what the chat has been amongst fans all around the world with number 14. Do you sell him and cash in and get rid of the cancer, or do you actually dig your heels in and go, no, you're staying here. Like, you're not leaving because you want to leave. You sign with us. We're not selling you. You're at our play, which has been the club stance all summer, really. And I'm genuinely torn. I one day I might be sell him. The money's going to be great. We can really reinvest it. You look at all the top clubs, and they've all sold players for a lot of money, which has funded their transfer business, along with obviously their mind-blowing revenue that helps props it up, and selling things like their women's team and hotels to themselves as well, which funds their transfer business. But the other part of me is like, it sets a really dangerous precedent with everyone else. So if they don't get what they want, are they going to do the same thing, knowing that the club will blink and sell them in the end? It's a win-win, and it's a lose-lose at the same time, depending on which way you want to look at it. I'm very similar to Jack. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I think we either get a British record deal for him, or we keep one of the best players on the planet. And there's no way that he's not going to not play till at least January. He's going to have to come back with his tail between his legs, and I think that's why Eddie's been very diplomatic and open about the situation in press conferences and stuff like that. I'm sure he'd be absolutely fuming about him behind closed doors and things like that. But it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. And
would you genuinely take him back though? Would you want him back?
You have to.
I mean, if argument's sake, say for example, an offer from Liverpool comes in, which is 120 million. I don't think 120 million is enough, personally. I would say 135 plus bonuses, whatever that would be. That's going to get close to the 150. 120, if that's what they come in, which is slightly higher than the offer that came with a few weeks ago, I think the club might be tempted by that, and just to get him out of the door, because he is one hell of a bad egg. If he said to the president a case of, right, I'm just going to kick up a stink, I'm going to throw me toys out the pram, yes, I might get what I want, but I might not get what I want. And if I don't, I'm then going to stink this club up like there's no tomorrow. And the big conspiracy is his performance over the last few games of the season, where he was just wandering around the pitch with his finger up his arse. Is that because
we all thought he was injured,
or was it because he was injured?
Yeah, well, we all thought he was injured, and as far as we know, there was no off-season surgery or anything like that. I think they bullshitted the Celtic game when they said he had a quad issue or something like that. That's obviously that was a load of lies just to try and diffuse the situation where it was at that particular time. So if you're a Strand Larsen guy, you said you've been batting for him for a while now, whether that's in photos or in your mind, I'm not quite sure. I'll leave that to your imagination, or to the viewers and listeners' imagination. If it is him, he needs to be the Callum Wilson when number 14 signed, doesn't he? He's the one who needs to come in and unfortunately, he needs to start scoring early.
Yeah.
And then give big B&E a time to settle in and get acclimatized, get used to the way we play, the league, the level, and things like that. But Strand Larsen's the one who has to come in, as Callum Wilson was when number 14 signed, that he was the established striker. He was scoring and he kind of just filtered in and sort of come along slowly, which Eddie Howe normally does anyway. But whoever comes in, if it's him or Wissa, they've got to come in as the number one straight away, don't they?
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. And I think Strand Larsen, he would as well, because obviously he's had a year's worth of Premier League experience now, or close to it.
Yeah.
From that loan. But I don't think he'll be the one that we will end up with. I don't think we'll end up with Wissa. I just think Brentford are pricing him out of the move. By all accounts, Strand Larsen does want to come to the club. He's, again, not done anything to suggest he's willing to down tools or anything. He said, look, if you can agree a fee, happy days. If not, I'll stay and plow on. But please try and make this happen for me, which is all you can really ask to the club and to his agent or anything. And if it does materialise, fantastic. We've got a cracking player in our hands. I know a lot of people aren't really sold on Strand Larsen, but I do genuinely think he's a quality player. He had the second highest hit rate of shots to goals in the Premier League last season, only better by Chris Wood. And you got to remember as well that Wolves were pretty much dog shit for 80% of the season last year. They were fighting relegation for a good half of that, and only just scraped it towards the end. And it was pretty much Strand Larsen's goals that stopped them from going down. But yeah, he is a quality player. Again, not one who's overly potent with his head. But if we can get the ball to his feet or anything like that, his finishing is up there with the best in the league. Better than Haaland, better than Isak in terms of striking ability and his goals to shots ratio, which is what we really need right now, because we could have done with him last night, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, the last 2 games, the 3 games now as well. All right, mate, before we go, 2 questions. All right. There is no repercussions for any of these answers. It is just your opinion. All right. Do we sign another striker between now and the end of the window?
Yes.
Okay, it's going to be more than 2 questions. Which one?
Strand Larsen.
What happens with number 14 come the end of the window?
He's gone.
How much?
Has to be more than 130 million, in my opinion. Anything less, and we have buckled and we have caved in.
Will they accept less, though?
You know, I don't think they will, because Piff will not want to be seen as the losing club.
That's the shit I wanted to hear.
Big thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Piff do not like to lose, and they've already at loggerheads with their PSG with some other financial deal a while ago. They do not like each other, these two companies, and it's kind of almost similar to what Saudis versus Qataris in terms of rivalry, that type of thing, how it's been building. And this is the thing all boiled down to. Piff will want to come out as they've been the winners, and that will be the key to whether he stays or goes for the right price.
Yeah, I could not agree more. If he goes, it's got to be on our terms. And
correct.
We have to say that we've won. And he can think he's won because in the end he got what he wanted and stuff like that. But we need to be absolutely flushed with cash. And I'm sorry, 120, 130 is probably not getting it done for me. It's got to be 130 plus.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Well, you've got it here. Craig said it, so we're going to hold him to this now. So we'll see
and
I
am dying my hair off these ones.
No. Craig also said he's going to dye his hair pink if James Trafford didn't sign for us. So we're still waiting for that to happen. Now, the good news is, everybody, that Tuesday night we are going to have a full transfer recap. We're going to have Adam Peacock back from Stan Sports, who are now the rights holder for the Premier League in Australia. You can see him every Saturday on Stan, and recently you can also see him on a Saturday night on Channel 9, which has been absolutely fantastic to see the Premier League on free to air here in Australia, Craig. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last. I think it is only for the first few games and the Saturday lunchtime kickoff, but it is great. So we're going to have a full unpacking of the transfer window. There is so much to happen, and there's so much that's going to happen. So make sure you tune in Tuesday night, wherever you get your podcast from and wherever you watch us on YouTube, whether that's your TV or smart device. Tune in because there's going to be so much to talk about, and we'll unpack it all here on Tuesday night. Craig, thank you very much for your time tonight, my friend.
No worries. Have a good night, mate.
And everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back Tuesday night to see what shit went down. We'll see you then.
See you in a bit.